first job as a truck driver was coming out of Brewton, Alabama every day. Did that for 8-9 weeks. From all the way down here, Georgia Pacific plant, took rolls of paper up to Atlanta every day. Another little town very near. We are basically due north of Pensacola, Florida. And we're going to pass within about not even 3 miles. The very, very corner of northwest Florida. Little tiny little right little corner. Robio. I-10 to Pascagoula, Mississippi. There's a pilot flying J over there with a, I believe it's the we're stopping at restaurant. I believe it's the one we're going to, Mossy Point. I believe they have a Moe's there. Grab a burrito. Do a 30-minute break while we're there. About an hour and 45 minutes, we'll get there. So our way. I want to see for as early as possible tomorrow, pick up this skid loader that's going out to Chandler, Arizona, which is on the southeast side of Phoenix. And get that delivered. As early as possible. I can see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Delivered on Friday afternoon at the latest. get to Thibodaux. About 118 miles. I'm going to go back a little bit south and a lot more east to get back to Thibodaux. Chandler, Arizona. Roughly 1,500 miles, I would think. Or a little more than that. From Thibodaux. $1,474 miles. City center to city center. So, one, we got to get into Texas. We got to get all the way across Texas, which we're going to go across the very widest portion of it, which is over 800 miles, just in Texas. So, enter Texas, all the way across I-10, all the way over to El Paso. Mike's World, good morning. So, from the very eastern part of Texas all the way to El Paso, that's 870 something miles, at the widest point. Then with a little bit, through the shortest point, the shortest length of space, through New Mexico, into Arizona, to Phoenix. Which the total trip from here in Evergreen, Alabama, just up the road a little ways, and not including what my entire trip has been so far, 1,943 miles. An easy 3-day run. So, like I said, tomorrow make my delivery, make my pickup, and that'll leave about 1,500 miles. So 2.5 days of driving. If I'm picking up on Tuesday, I can easily get out there and make my delivery by Friday. I'll probably do a reset over the weekend, and we can go from there.
Message from Eric Anderson. Sent Monday.
Yeah, well, tell me he's not going to be in the shop. Yeah. So, that's, not too bad. So, like I said, we'll get down here to Mossy Point, here in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Do our 30-minute break. We have 225 miles to go to our delivery in Opelousas. There is a Love's, like the next town over, which I've stayed at before. They don't have a lot of parking there, but if I get there at a good time, I'll get a parking spot there. My delivery is right off of I-49. So pop in there, then come back to Thibodaux, do my pickup, a simple little skid loader. And then, like I said, basically 2.5 days of long driving to Chandler, delivery. Will not have immediately, and not pick up until Monday, possible. Of is us to get a load that'll make a profit. Well, see, I'm a Navy brat. Where the Air Force stuff is at, I don't know. So the bases I know, East Coast, some of the East Coast, West Coast, and Japan. Those are the bases that I know of. Few of the companies I picked, delivered, being a truck. So, a few of those I've been to, but couldn't tell you otherwise. Yeah, we lose signal because we're not exactly in a very populated area here. So the signal's going to get a little weak. It may get lost, so if it drops off, my apologies, but that's the way the internet nowadays. So slightly close to the Florida border every moment. Florida border due east, we're heading a little bit more south than, or I'm sorry, the Florida border is east-west. We're going south, well, we're going more westerly than we are south, but we're a little bit to the south. So we're going west. If you look at a compass rose, that's the approximate angle we're going. West, west, southwest. So, Biloxi, Mississippi. Been through there many a time. Like stop Pascagoula, or a little side place called Mossy Point. Right there. Mobile, Gulfport, Jackson. I picked up and delivered in that area several times. Not a lot, several times over the past couple of years. Get away from this guy on the side of the road here. Don't need to get next to these guys, doing a call out for some repair work. There we go. Yeah, lordy, lordy, lordy. Yeah, so today, or yesterday, matter of fact, all of Christina's stuff is off the truck now. She's not riding with me anymore. A little bit upset about that, but that's her being on the truck was not exactly not just what she needs to do. So happy about that. Sad I'm not going to have my friend with me in the truck. The last 20-something days, 22 days, was not as enjoyable as having somebody with you on the truck. A little bit more boring, a little more lonely. But life is as it is. So back to having all the bed to myself, back to having all the space to myself, which I'm fine with, but at the same time, like I said, the companionship with a friend, that kind of outweighs sport and soul. Sure. Go for it. I can't see anything about that because my experience with Gulfport is going to port, and that's about it. Now, my all right, we got about 88 miles to our destination here in Mossy Point, Pascagoula. We got 2 hours and 52 minutes that we can drive, but we have to take a mandatory 30-minute break. We have approximately 8 hours and 30 minutes on my work clock for the day, and 64 hours and 40 minutes before I have to do a 34 mandatory without any recovery on my clock. So I anticipate not exceeding that 70 hours or needing to do recap when I get out to Arizona, go out to Chandler. Like I said, I anticipate no load for the weekend. And sitting out there in Chandler, I mean, I'd rather sit in Chandler. I'd rather sit in Buckeye, preferably. All right, we are passing Flomatron, the Wind Creek Casino and Hotel right here. Not too far off to our left here to the south is the very northeast little corner of Florida. Flomaton is probably the biggest town in the area right here. But probably the biggest industry here, which is based right there in Bruton, little few miles back, is going to be the paper mill for Georgia Pacific. A lot of pine trees growing around the area for paper production. So in this entire region around here, like 20-30 mile perimeter around here, around Bruton, Alabama, is a lot of pine trees grown, sold for making paper. And of course, way down south, right on the Gulf, you have Pensacola, a little back to our east a little bit, mostly southwest. Ahead of us is Mobile, Alabama, in about 45 miles, roughly. 40 to 50 miles. 55 miles to through I-10, which will take out into Mississippi. eventually the reservation, I don't know. It's not really defined on the map that Ray McNally has. Not like out there in, you know, near Oklahoma where it's clearly marked on maps where that is. Lordy, lordy, lordy. But we're just going to continue to roll on. A little over an hour, say an hour and 25 minutes roughly. We'll get to we're going to get to our stop. Do our 30-minute break. We're going to get approximately 3 hours. We should get 3 hours added back onto our clock. Have that time frame, that's when I prefer to stop for the day. A, it's just been parking here. Down. I don't have time to do that, which I don't mind, but you know, I think a lot of drivers just have, they don't know how to manage their time as well. They're going to rush into this. Why you make so there, go. Maybe it's because I do heavy haul. I'm in a rush. Time I'm in an hour, you know, there's a set or crane. Go to warehouses like the reefer guys and, you know, guys running, you know, Amazon and warehouse appointments, and you know, I don't deal with all that, you know. I've already done that, and I never want to do that ever again, because it's not fun, it's not interesting, it's not challenging, it's only a headache. So instead of crying and complaining about it, I just don't do it. You know, I've done a reefer load. I've done the load dealing with lumpers, and I've had the, you know, dealing to dealing with food and all that jazz. No thanks. I never do it. I did it to make sure I had a little bit of experience at it, so at least I had a general idea of what I was talking about. An idea of what other people deal with, but that's never the kind of driving that I ultimately want to do. This is the kind, what I'm doing right now is the type of truck driving I always wanted to do. Enter Baldwin County. got more than a truck length between me and the truck I just passed before I even think about getting over. Like I said, now this is the type of trucking I enjoy doing the most. I enjoy the heavy haul. I enjoy the construction equipment, the farm equipment, driving those vehicles, loading and unloading, the challenge of dealing with the thing. A long nose, driving a large car. That's a bonus. Like I said, but the actual work of loading this stuff on and the process of doing the job, I really enjoy. Just driving a van, I did that. I did that for 13 months with my first job. Bumping a dock every single day, delivering carpet, delivering furniture, driving a beer load, driving food, doing Amazon stuff. It's just not my speed. Pardon me. The local delivery stuff was okay to learn. Well, Mike, yes, I have been to Maine several times. Watertown is probably the biggest the thing that I spent the most time in. I've been up, there once or twice, not a lot, but I've been to Watertown. I actually spent 2018, right about Christmas time, right near Christmas time, I stayed over at the Walmart, and there's a Applebee's right next to the Walmart there, and there was a Home Depot or a Lowe's right next to it. I spent my time, I spent a day or so there, right near Christmas. I believe it was 2018. I was with Melton Truck Lines. I did a little bit of cabinet construction from some wood I bought there at that Lowe's or Home Depot. I think it was a Home Depot. Ate dinner at that Applebee's. I did a little bit of shopping in that Walmart because I parked at the Walmart parking lot overnight. I forget what I delivered there. I think I'm drawing a blank on what I actually delivered, but it did snow that night just a tiny bit. It was cold. But like I said, I've been to Maine once or 2 or 3 times. I don't get to the Northeast all that much. Let's see. I was in Vermont this year. I made a delivery of a tractor and a snowblower up there this year. Was that, I think it was August? I think it was back in August I was up there. I'd have to look at my notebook to see, but Yeah, I've been up there, you know. And at one time, as a much younger man, I actually wanted to move to northern Maine up in Fort Kent. That was a thing that I wanted to do, move up to like the Fort Kent, into that area. I wanted rural, I wanted less people, you know, so that was one of the places that I wanted to move. But, you know, things change, your ideas change, so I am moving to northwest Montana. Other than that, same kind of environment, you know, trees, a little bit of mountain, a little bit of lake. Less people. Oh, I'm sure, like I said, just it's not a popular place to go, which that's the kind of thing I want. I don't need the bustle of the city. I'm not a city person. I mean, when it was halfway decent, it was nice to go to New York, shop and see the sights, go to a show, go to a nice restaurant in New York City, Manhattan. But right now, unfortunately, because of all the stupidity, not doing it. But, yeah, I want to buy me like 5, 10, 20 acres, build me a house, garden, farm, raise a few animals, do woodworking, and basically retire. All right, 68 miles to go. So basically, you know, a little bit of slowdown up here in Mobile, you know, going through the city. So traffic's going to, speed limit's going to slow down a little bit. So just about an hour, roughly. Like I said, we're going to do a 30-minute break there. Okay, so what I'm thinking about, I should have a Moe's. Get a burrito. We'll see how far we can get into Louisiana. I mean, Breaux Bridge over near Lafayette is a bit south of where we're going to deliver. That's an okay place to be. Like I said, a little bit east of Opelousas. I think it might still be Opelousas, but there's a Love's in the small town. A little bit, there's a few parking spots there. Like I said, I'm not, no way am I in a rush. So excuse me. All right, mile mile marker, 37 here on I-65. We are passing to the north of Bay Minette, which is off to our left here. Never have been into Bay Minette, but been past it, I don't know, a good dozen times. Lordy. But this is the exciting world of trucking. Mind-numbing boredom during the day. Except when I'm loading or unloading. But just mile after mile, hour after hour of this. So we got about 52 degrees outside. We're doing about 6.2 miles per gallon. 18th gear, cruising at the set cruise control, which is the maximum for cruise control of 68 miles an hour. Doing about 1,610 RPM on the old engine.
I-65 south.
Now, my truck has the cruise set at 70 at about 1,500 RPM, so it runs a little bit better. But this is a heavier. This truck is made for heavier loads, a longer trailer, more axles. Well, and see, I left there right before any real accumulation started. So like I said, it's just cold. There had been snow on the ground. There were a few piles around, small piles of snow. I mean, the ground was frozen. There's but there really wasn't anything on the ground per se. But if you saw a Melton Truckline trucks, flatbed in there with no load on it, parked in the Walmart, that was probably me. Now, if you saw one with the Christmas lights in the window, that definitely was me. I said, I had a little steak dinner there at Applebee's. I sat at the bar. It was okay, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I couldn't tell you where I went after that. I think I had to come all the way. I know I came out of Maine, I think into Connecticut, to pick up a load of steel coil in Connecticut, taking that to who knows where, but that's my recollection of that trip. Heroes Highway Highway, Alabama, coming upon Satsuma. Want to get away from this guy on this white truck here because you never know what's going to happen. He's going to get out of the truck and stumble into the lane of travel. All right, Mobile, Tensall, River Delta. Some of the false cypress and the more of your swamp trees, a little bit of tupelo and other trees like that down in this area. A few palm trees around here once in a great while. This whole area right here on these bridges, just swampy, all kind, you know, just kind of like the bayou, you know, that same kind of thickly wooded, swampy, you know, type of environment here. So Lordy, Lordy, Lord. Well, we may have passed each other in the old Walmart. Who knows? It's mainly just to get through this swampy kind of area over on the Atchafalaya area, you know, natural resource area, whatever they call it, heritage area. The one over there in Louisiana, I think it's either the longer or the same length, but because it's in Louisiana, they only do 55 on that bridge, but same kind of thing here, going through the swampy area. But on this particular bridge here in Alabama, we can do 70 miles an hour on this one. So it may be the same length or a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. It just doesn't feel it because I can do an extra 15 miles faster than I can at the Atchafalaya area in Louisiana, which we'll have to deal with later on. So like I said, I got to figure out where I'm going to stop tonight. I mean, I'd rather not go to Breaux Bridge, even though I can reserve a parking spot there so I can drive a little bit later. I said I'm not in a rush. I can still make it out to Chandler, Arizona Friday afternoon to make a delivery. You know, Friday, you know, that's from Thibodaux, Louisiana to Chandler, Arizona, about 1,470 miles. Now, that's just city center to city center, so, you know, it's gonna be roughly about that. So. But either way, I'm more than likely I'm going to be sitting the weekend there near Phoenix, Arizona. get around this trash truck here, or recycling truck, or scrap metal truck. I just call it trash truck. Whatever. All right, get back on the dry land here. Bing, bang, and boom. Right, back on the dry land. We got a police car pulled a truck over up here. So we'll get over nice and early, so we don't have to try to get over at the last second. So we just entered into the city outbounds, the city limits. Maybe not of Mobile proper, but one of the associated towns on the northeast side of Mobile. Yeah, state trooper pulled you down over, huh? And it looks like this flatbed's having a little problem with its tarp. So if you did the job right to begin with, you wouldn't be pulled over on the side of the road. Get back over here in the slow lane. Whataburger! I don't know what anybody else is feeling about it, but I'm not impressed in the slightest by Whataburger. The first time I had Route 2017, let's see, July of 2017. I'd never seen it. I don't think I ever heard of Whataburger, maybe in passing, but I'd never seen one because Baltimore, yeah, you don't have Whataburger up there, so. Yes, I-65. We just passed, we're at Creola, Alabama. Marker 21. And this will end, and we're going to be getting onto I-10 down here a little bit. Hey, a little sunshine. All right, I'll take what little bit I can get. Saraland, Mobile, Satsuma, Creola. Ready. Like I said, we've stopped at this pilot here many a time before. I think the very last time I passed here, I was going westbound or northbound, and there was a major accident right on that bridge right there. Had a little bit of a delay in a heavy rainstorm. I believe I was going somewhere in Florida with a load. I was still at Melton Truck Lines when that happened. I think that was one of the last, like 8 or 9, 10 loads I took there. Melton was on that load, if I remember right. Wow, Lordy, Lordy, Lord. Oh yeah. Well, 2018. We got 2019. Might have been 2019, early in the I did a load going from Seguin, Texas to Dothan, Alabama. I came straight across, take a roading down, power lines and down, all kinds of stuff to get over to Dothan, Alabama. Fun as I got, like they did not have a clue because nobody knew I was coming. It was some Department of Works or something for Southern Alabama. They acted like they didn't even know I was coming. Well, if you don't watch Generator, yeah, well, whatever. That was the last hurricane I remember dealing with, and I followed right behind it. No, we actually had back in September, I think it was, when Christina was with me, we had to dodge a hurricane, but we came in around the top of it in Louisiana, and it went up through over more towards Georgia way, so we went around the top of it, a little more north instead of south, down like we went here. So we were more up on I-20 instead of down here on I-10. So we kind of skirted around to the north. But I try to avoid that weather stuff as much as I can. When I can. If I'm on permits, it's like, all right, well, it's raining, can't do it. It's snowing, I can't do anything. It's too high of a wind, I can't do anything. So we do what we can when we can. Lord. Speed limit reduced ahead. Yeah, here we are, getting into Mobile. Citronelle. Saraland. Up here on the left a little bit, it's going to be Pritchard. We get about 40, a little over 40 minutes to Pascagoula.